What if jealousy festered so deep it twisted family bonds into unbreakable curses? Dive into this chilling folktale of envy, dark magic, transformation, and a revelation that will leave you questioning blood ties forever. Buckle up, because the jaw-dropping reason behind this wicked act will shock you to your core. In the quaint village of Willowbrook, nestled between rolling emerald hills and whispering willow trees that seem to guard ancient secrets, lived a young orphan named Aria. Her hair shimmered like spun gold under the sun, and her voice, oh, it could charm the very stars from the night sky, weaving melodies that made flowers bloom out of season and birds pause in mid-flight to listen. Aria's parents had perished in a ferocious storm years ago, a tragedy that left the village in mourning. Now she was under the care of her Aunt Isolde, a stern widow whose face was etched with lines of bitterness, her heart as barren and cold as the frozen soil of winter. Aunt Isolde had once been beautiful herself, or so the old villagers whispered around crackling fires. But time had stolen her youth, leaving her faded like forgotten wildflowers trampled underfoot. She envied Aria's radiant beauty and that enchanting voice with a passion that burned hotter than any forge. While Aria's days were filled with endless chores, scrubbing floors until her hands bled, tending to the garden under the scorching sun, and mending clothes by flickering candlelight, she found solace at dusk. Perched by the open window of their creaky cottage, Aria would sing. Her songs floated through the air like silk threads, drawing admirers from afar. Farmers pausing in their fields, children sneaking closer, and even the reclusive elders smiling for the first time in years. Villagers adored her, showering her with small gifts, fresh bread, wild berries, a hand-carved flute that Isolde greedily hoarded in her locked chest. "You're nothing without me," Isolde would snarl, her eyes blazing with resentment, as if Aria's light somehow dimmed her own shadow. But resentment alone doesn't brew curses. It needs a spark of darkness. One moonless night, when the wind howled like restless spirits through the rafters, Isolde ventured into the dusty attic of the cottage. Cobwebs clung to forgotten trunks, and the air smelled of mildew and secrets long buried. There, hidden beneath layers of moth-eaten cloth, she discovered an ancient grimoire, a forbidden book bound in cracked leather, etched with glowing runes that seemed to pulse with malevolent life. This was no ordinary tome. It had belonged to Isolde's own grandmother, a whispered witch of old who dabbled in shadows. The pages whispered of spells for unimaginable powers, potions to bend wills, charms to steal youth, and one particularly sinister incantation to bind a soul into the form of an animal, trapping their essence in feathers or fur forever. Greed looped endlessly in Isolde's mind, a venomous cycle that poisoned her thoughts day and night. If Aria became a bird, Isolde reasoned with a twisted grin, she could claim the family's hidden inheritance, a chest of gold coins and precious jewels buried under the old oak tree, willed solely to Aria by her father. But more than that, it would silence that infernal voice, ensuring no one else could bask in its glow. The curse required a ritual under the blood moon, when the veil between worlds thinned like fragile parchment. Isolde gathered forbidden herbs from the forbidden edges of the forest, nightshade that bloomed only in darkness, mandrake roots that screamed when pulled from the earth, and thorns from a rosebush cursed by lovers' betrayal. She whispered ancient incantations that made the flames in her hearth dance unnaturally, and mixed an insidious potion laced with a strand of Aria's golden hair, stolen while the girl slept. The next evening, as the blood moon rose like a wounded eye in the sky, Isolde approached Aria with a false smile, her hands trembling slightly with anticipation. "Drink this, my dear," she lied, her voice dripping with feigned concern. "It's a tonic for your health, to chase away those weary aches from your chores." Innocent and trusting, Aria sipped the brew, the liquid bitter on her tongue like betrayal itself. At first, nothing happened. Then, a searing pain ripped through her body. Feathers sprouted from her skin like golden quills, her bones hollowed and lightened, her arms twisted into wings. In sheer agony, she let out a cry that morphed into a bird's trill. Before her horrified eyes, she shrank, transforming into a magnificent golden songbird, her ancient beautiful form now trapped in a gilded cage hung by Isolde's bedside. Isolde threw back her head and laughed maniacally, the sound echoing through the cottage like thunder. "Now sing for me alone, little bird," she crowed, her face twisted in triumph. But the reason behind this wickedness? It ran deeper than mere jealousy, a secret so dark it could shatter stone. Aria's father had indeed willed the family fortune to her, not to Isolde, but Isolde was no true aunt by blood. She was a stepsister to Aria's mother, harboring a grudge that festered for decades. The shocking truth? Isolde had caused the parents' fatal storm with her own dark magic years ago, summoning winds and lightning through a forbidden ritual, all driven by her insatiable lust for the inheritance. She had murdered them in cold blood, disguising it as nature's fury, and now sought to erase the last heir standing in her way. Poor Aria, now a bird, fluttered desperately against the bars of her cage, her songs no longer joyful but mournful dirges that tugged at the heartstrings of anyone who heard them. The villagers noticed her sudden absence, whispers spreading like wildfire through Willowbrick's cobblestone streets. "Where has the golden-voiced girl gone?" they murmured in the marketplace, eyes darting suspiciously toward Isolde's cottage. Isolde feigned grief masterfully, dabbing at dry eyes with a handkerchief and pocketing the sympathies and the coins that came her way. "Poor child, lost to illness," she sighed dramatically, all while counting her ill-gotten gains. But fate has a way of weaving loops, circles of justice that tighten slowly but surely. In her bird form, Aria discovered an unexpected freedom, flight. Though caged most days, she managed brief escapes when Isolde dozed, slipping through a cracked window. With her beak, she pecked subtle clues. A golden feather left on Thorn's doorstep. Thorn, the young suitor who had loved Aria from afar, his heart aching with unspoken words. A familiar tune sung near the village elder window, stirring memories. These loops of hints began to unravel Isolde's web. Emotions surged like a storm within the tale. Aria's profound despair, trapped in a fragile body, yearning for her lost humanity. Isolde's triumphant glee morphing into gnawing paranoia as shadows seemed to watch her every move. She dreamed nightly of Aria's piercing eyes, accusing her from the darkness, waking in cold sweats. Meanwhile, Thorn, a handsome blacksmith with calloused hands and a fierce determination, searched relentlessly. His heart broke anew every day without Aria's song, driving him to sneak into the cottage under cover of night, following the mournful bird calls. One fateful evening, Thorn discovered the ancient grimoire hidden in Isolde's chamber, its pages still warm from her touch. Piecing together the scattered clues, Aria's feathers, the bird's familiar eyes, the book's cursed spells, he confronted Isolde in the moonlit garden. "Reverse this abomination," he demanded, his voice thunderous, sword drawn and gleaming. Cornered, like a rat in a trap, Isolde's facade crumbled. She spat the shocking truth, her words venomous. "She was never meant to live. The fortune is mine by right. I killed her parents with my magic, summoning that storm to claim what was owed me." The climax erupted under the same blood moon that had sealed Aria's fate. Thorn, clever and brave, tricked Isolde into stepping into her own ritual circle, drawn in chalk and herbs on the dew-kissed grass. As the moon reached its zenith, Aria's mournful song amplified, echoing through the village like a call to arms. The magic reversed in a whirlwind of light and shadow. Isolde shrieked as her body contorted, feathers black as sin sprouting and shrinking her into a ragged crow, cawing her regrets into the night sky. Aria, freed at last, emerged human once more, her golden hair cascading as she embraced Thorn, tears of unbridled joy streaming down her cheeks. The village erupted in celebration, but the loop closed with a poignant twist. In a moment of profound mercy, Aria forgave Isolde. Using the grimoire's final spell, she transformed her back to human form, but banished her forever from Willowbrook, dooming her to wander as a beggar, haunted by her deeds. Willowbrook flourished thereafter, Aria's voice now a beacon of healing, mending old wounds and inspiring new love stories. Yet, even in peace, whispers lingered among the willows. Was forgiveness truly wise, or would envy's dark loops circle back one day, eternal and unforgiving? What do you think, dear listener? Hit that like button if this tale chilled your bones and subscribe for more spine-tingling folk tales. Until next time, sweet dreams. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more intriguing stories. Let us know in the comments section. Would you forgive a wicked